Hello, everybody, welcome back. It's me, Pluto's Overlord, and I guess yeah, it's been quite a while over, I guess 6 months by now that I've posted my last video. But I guess I'm back. I've been just been like a bit busy with school and like stuff. But hey, I'm back with a video, and I'm really glad for this video. I'm like really excited. Also, if you hear like birds chirping outside, I'm sorry, that's just my neighbors. But yeah, so I'm really excited for this video because it's one of my favorite subjects ever. Like eyes, okay? I really love drawing eyes. I really love seeing other people draw eyes, and I would really love to share a tutorial on how to draw eyes in my art style. And this video will in fact go into sketching, then in line art, and then even in coloring. And then I will even provide a bit of shading. So all right, we'll start off by sketching eyes and how we do it like a pro. Okay, let's start off by let's just make a little sketching section over here. Let's just like sketching. All right, perfect, beautiful. Now that you have made our little sketching section, let us start off. Now the thing is, when we are sketching an eyes on like any character, okay. Also, I'm really sorry for this. I should have mentioned that in the introduction section, but I just want to mention it now that this video isn't really like scripted, as in I don't really have any script for this video. So I'm just gonna be saying things as I go along because I just really didn't had the mindset to write a script. But I just hope you enjoy it still. All right, I really hope I don't really just blabber on random nonsense. But yeah, if you do hear me stutter a little, please forgive me. I'm just really not in the mood of writing a script. But okay, with that said, as I was saying, how do you sketch an eye? The thing about sketching eyes, I'm gonna be using plural, okay, eyes, because characters usually are drawn with two eyes, is that you have to make them both even. So when sketching, the basic guideline we always use for eyes is this straight line that shows us the eye level. But because we are doing in my style, I personally like to use two lines and then divide those two lines into these sections. You see what this essentially allows us to do? Let me just zoom in a little for you. What this essentially allows us to do is ensure that both our eyes are of the roughly the same size. Like if I just simply sketch inside this square, then the other square is like roughly the same length, right? So if the one square and the other square is like roughly the same length, then surely the eyes drawn that are basically following the guidelines of those square, they are going to be the same, they are going to be the same size as well. Like let me just tell you some, let me just show this to you real quick over here. Like for example, I use that square as a guideline. The eye fits inside it perfectly and beautifully in this shape. So we can just go inside there, go over here, and as you can see, these eyes are roughly the same length, which is crucial for us traditional artists who don't really have the luxury of copy pasting eyes and flipping them and like all that digital stuff. This is just really crucial for us. But yeah, this is just a really cool trick, I know. And also this is something I also want to share, that when you're sketching eyes, you shouldn't really just sketch both of them, like as in you sketch one eye first and then you go in for the other eye. No, 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 never do that. All right, you're drawing this upper eyelid line for one eye. Beautiful, perfect. Draw it in for the other eye as well. You're drawing in eyelashes for one eye. Why not draw it in for the other one too? Beautiful, right? You're drawing this bottom area for one eye. I mean, you know the drill. Why not draw it in for the other eye as well? You're drawing the lower eye area for the first eye. Why not draw it in for the other line too? Eye too. You're drawing the circle for first eye. Sure, why not draw it in for the other eye too? This will just give you a sense of continuity and a sense of consistency when you're drawing. You're gonna just really love the results and how they are so even and perfectly matched. And it's just something that it just really helps you. It's one of those tips that like are immediately, you just know that these are gonna help you. So with that said and done, we can just simply use the circle we have drawn as like the base, and sketch the things in. Also, one more thing I really want to share is that you see the distance, this eye's length and this eye's length are equal. That's cool and all, but the distance between them is also like the same length. We can fit another eye in there. It's the same as those eyes we have initially drawn. Isn't that just like a really cool marking rough line? Like you can just say that, yeah, first eye I have to fit in another eye, and that's my guidelines. And of course we can apply this to the upper eye we drew in here as well. Both of them follow the same rule, right? That's practically just free knowledge for us, and it's just a really cool sketching guideline that's gonna help you a lot. Also, one more thing I really want to point out is that I really see beginners skip this bottom eyelid for some reason, but it's just really like a cool detail, you know. It's really looks beautiful, and in most art style, it would be really appreciated. Also, one more thing that the thing about sketching eyes is that when you're sketching a male eye, you should also like this is just a general rule. Okay, this is just a general rule. There are exceptions. There are female with really narrow eyes, and there are male with really wide eyes. For example, let me just show you a picture of my own eye real quick. Like, see that my eyes are pretty feminine, but the thing is, males do exist like that, and this is just a general rule. But if you want to make a character a bit more masculine, you should really try to like incorporate a sense of narrow eyes into them. If you don't want to, that's pretty cool. That's just really cool. And if you're drawing like a female character, try to make them their eyes wider. But if you don't want to do that, perfectly fine, man. It's just your art style, and it's gonna. I'm sure it would look beautiful in your art style. But this is just a general rule I wanted to put out there for beginners. If you want to learn this is just a really cool thing you should keep in your mind. See, really beautiful eye sketches over here, some really cool eye sketches. With that said, let us now go on how to line art our eyes. Okay, line art, I'm gonna make a new section for it real quick over here. Line art. Yes, there will be a shading. I have a shading section. I have a full this area just for that. I'm gonna teach you how to shade eyes as well. That would be really cool in coloring and stuff. But this is gonna be a general rule for almost line arting anything. When you are line arting a certain thing, you should also always try to make it a second layer of sketch. You see, don't make it all too clean. Don't make it too nice and like perfect lines. Just make it in a layer, like a second rough sketch layer. Don't go in for perfectionism. You're gonna just lose your mind over small details. It's really not gonna help you that much. You should always try to focus on the bigger picture, the whole eye and how it looks. You should not get lost in the details of how one specific iris looks or how one specific area is shaded. Look at the full picture. Make sure your line art isn't always being like too clean, because too clean of line art, like I'm gonna put in some example on the screen, but if you can see too clean of line arts, they just look off, you know, as in comparison to something like let's say this is like a pretty messy eye, as you can see. It just looks better because our brains are naturally evolved to ignore mistakes when there are a lot more details around them. And sure, if you want to go in for like really clean line art, I'm sure that would look also beautiful in a lot of art styles. Just that in beginning, this is not hiding your mistakes. No, actually, it's like a reverse thing. You know, when you make a really messy eyes first, and then you make a bit cleaner and a bit cleaner, and essentially you are able to make really clean eyes. It's like that. And hey, some people actually like the messy look, so and they just keep it as their art style because they like it. And I think that's a really cool thing you can develop. It's like you can build your own art style from there, if is what I'm trying to tell you. You see these eye like this really messy eyes. These are what I'm trying to draw, and these are what my art style represents. Basically, this is what my art style draws them in, like. And I really like the messy look of them. Of course, if I wanted to go in for super clean, I can draw them, but I just really like the look of these messy eyes, which is why I feel like you should try them too. Always treat your line art as like this second layer of sketch, the slightly cleaner sketch you have, not as a final thing, just the slightly cleaner sketch you have. And that's gonna really help your eyes stand out a lot more, like look a lot better, you know, in a way. Yeah, I really don't have a script for this video, as you can tell. I'm just blabbering on random knowledge, I know. But yeah, uh, I hope that it helps. Also, one more thing I've heard a lot of people say is that I should improve my camera quality and like get a stable source to put on my camera on. Which I mean, sure, I did buy this tripod, but for the time being, I'm basically too broke to buy a new camera. So, yeah, sorry. If you wanna help with that, you can of course subscribe. I'm gonna really appreciate it. I'm gonna really, really appreciate it. You know, these things like really took time, and not to mention the fact that let me show you something, okay? That not to mention the fact, but all my like these thumbnails, they are basically hand drawn. I don't have the editing skills to make fully new thumbnails, so they're just hand drawn, and it just takes a lot of effort is what I'm trying to get at. You can really help me if you just simply subscribe, share and subscribe. It just helps with the algorithm, because it sees that you have interacted with the video, and it shows me to other people who I hope also are helped by my videos. I'm just trying to help but yeah, please like, share, and subscribe. That's gonna really be helpful. And okay, I think enough yapping about my own promotion instead. Now we can go on to another really cool aspect, which is, of course, coloring. Who doesn't like coloring? I love coloring. Everybody loves coloring. And let's just see how we color eyes. Let's first start off by drawing a really beautiful eye over here. Okay, we're gonna go for a really masculine eye just to show you what I'm trying to get at. Also, notice how I'm making it a lot thinner than when I drew female eyes over here or here. See how I'm making it a lot more thinner and narrower. Even though you can see that there are still like some heavy eyelashes, it still does look pretty masculine because it's just really narrow, and just gets a point across that this is a masculine eye. If we just so we can simply sketch in some really beautifully detailed eyebrows over here, because males typically do tend to have these really, I suppose, thick eyebrows, like these really beautifully thick eyebrows, which I find really cool that we can just translate that real life knowledge into art. I guess almost all of the real life knowledge is transported to art, but still, I think you get what I'm trying to get at. But here we have this really beautiful eye we have drawn. It's sketched in. Now let us see how we can color it in. Let's see our male over here has a very greenish kind of eye. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a really green eye. How should we color that? All right then. Then, as you see, first we should get, of course, a really green color inside there, just to, give us an emphasis on what this is supposed to be. And also, this is for all my traditional brothers and sisters who are broke like me. We don't really have the comfort, I can say, the luxury of a white gel pen. So please just mark out this highlight area, because this will be a highlight area, and color in everything else. Because let's be real, we don't have the luxury to make one later. We just have to work with what we are given. Okay, life's not fair. And then this inner eyelid area, let's go in for a darker color, like a really darker color than this other area we use. Now the thing is, this upper eyelid area, then just sketch it in for just to show it to you. You see this upper eyelid area, the like this area, and then this is where the eyes contain. This area casts an almost shadow-like thing over towards this the eye, which is something you'll see a lot in a lot of drawings, as you can see like over here, even in our sketches. Let me just zoom in for you real quick. If you can see this area, it's a bit shaded. You see this, it's a bit darker than this area, which is a lot more lighter. And this knowledge actually does apply to even coloring, because this upper area, it will be colored in with a slightly darker color than what we have used in the down area, like over here. So of course, leaving the highlight out over here, we can gently color this area, and of course then we can just add in some highlights, I mean like some details like this. And there we go, we just made a really beautiful eye over there. Of course, go in with a bit of shading just to make ensure that this area is a lot more darker than the other. Then we can use a pencil for this area. Okay, I'm gonna tell you a really cool thing. This area isn't actually pure white. I know this just sounds a bit insane, and even it did to even me, because this area when we see in mirror is usually pure white. But the thing is, color theory works weird, and this area isn't actually pure white at all. Almost nothing is pure white actually. So we should always use this slightly dark pencil around here. You see, okay, I should emphasize on my last point that nothing is pure white. I'm not saying that's a rule. I'm just saying that in general, you should avoid pure white. Of course, if you don't want to avoid pure white, you want to draw with white, go ahead. I'm no one to stop you. But yeah, just saying in general, that's just something I think a lot of beginners would find helpful. And there you go. As you can see, we have colored a really beautiful eye in there. I'm just gonna like lower a bit of darkness just for you to see. As you can see, let me zoom in on the color. Honestly, I think that would help you a lot more. As you can see, we have just colored in a really beautiful eye, and then we can of course color in the surrounding area just to sell the look of the eye, that it is in fact an eye, by grabbing some skin colors. I guess we can just color in the skin around the eye. we can of course start off. Oh, my skin color isn't sharp. Wait a minute. Okay, as I was saying, my skin color is now sharp finally, so we can just color that area in. Don't press in too hard. Pressing in too hard breaks your nips, and it just doesn't make it look that good anyway. Just go in for a light tone, so you can always change it later or even erase if you want to. Then we can use this orange color for like a slight shadow, but not the darkest shadow. The darkest shadow can be drawn in with red in my art style at least. That's just how I like to draw them. But we can of course draw the slight shadows with this beautiful orange color that's just gonna really tell us the shape of what we are drawing. Like really beautiful, really beautifully. And this already looks pretty good, but we can make it even better by adding a bit of variety with red. Draw it in, color it in with the darkest area of the eyes, the really darkest areas where the darkest shadows are casted under the eyebrow, because that casts a really dark shadow, and all around here. And that is pretty much how I color eyes. Of course, let's just go in for another example by changing the set of colors to blue. And okay, here we are. Now let's use a lot more of these purplish schemed colors. That would be really cool to use. Okay, over here we sketch a more female eye this time. All right, I think that would just look a bit cooler, I guess. We make, of course, this really thick, this really like big, wide kind of eye kind of look, and then we just let's just make it a lot more whimsical now that I have an idea. Let's just make it a lot more whimsical. Do you think that would look pretty cool? Because I feel like whimsical eyes like that, those from, like Oshinoko, and they just are a lot harder to color because of just how much detail there is in that thing. But yeah, I still think that would be pretty cool to draw in right now. I think this one almost looks creepy in a way, but you know what I'm trying to get. This one looks like Makima's eye, honestly. But you know what? Let's just draw in a shimmer in there. And there we go. Let's just start in with the same logic I've used. Okay. Darkest colors goes on top. Make sure to make a bit of area for the highlight. Darkest color goes on top. Slightly darker, slightly lighter color goes bottom on bottom area. Blending color is in for the details. What's the next step? I think. Of course, my pencil. I think I forgot it somewhere. Okay, where did I put my pencil again? Alright, I have reacquired my pencil finally. Of course, upper eyelid area really dark. I've told you this before already. Lower eyelid area slightly less darker. Smudge it in gently. If you don't want to, that's okay as well. I just like to smudge it in a little in my art style. Around the eye area, same as before. Let's just use those colors. Alright, we've gotten the colors once again. You know the drill, how we draw them. Uh, this really not too dark, but press it a little hard around the eye area with skin color. Use I guess the orange for slightly darker area just to define the shape of the eye around, and use dark red for the really dark areas. Oh, I think I colored it in a little eye, but that's honestly a pretty bad mess up. But you know what? We are just gonna roll with it. Now there is something also we can do over here. Okay, if you just have a pair of markers, like any markers, these are just the ones I like to use. But if you don't have them, then that's fine. This is already pretty good on its own. But if you have them, we can always go for one tone darker than the rest. We can always go one up ourselves with this one tone darker than the rest. Smudge it in, smudge it in with the rest to bring out the orange. Really just adds this beautiful variety to our colors. Like, this is the hardest area. That's just define these really hard shadows, I suppose. If you know what I'm trying to get at, this just really defines those hard shadows. And as you can see, we have colored in some really cool eyes which look pretty much like the ones I've shown. They're all drawn using the same techniques. And yeah. Okay, one more thing before I go. I really have seen a lot of people drawing those real cute chibi. Oh, of course, I forgot the shading. I'm sorry, but I think I covered the shading enough in the coloring section for me to even bring it up. You know the drill. Just shade around the eye area, under the eye area, a bit up under the eyelash area, a bit in the iris on the upper side, and a bit under the brow. You know the drill. But I was saying that when drawing eyes in chibi art style, I really noticed these beautiful simplistic shape I wanted to show you all of you. Like we can always go for this board kind of eye look that I really like, and I like to use it in a lot of my characters. But you can always like in really chibi adorable kind of art styles. Then there's always that soulless dead kind of look that I've also really liked. This is really used a lot more like brooding and boring, and I think stoic kind of characters in a way. And there's of course also those really whimsical eyes kind of look. We can always summarize that in as well. There's always a way to, I'm just trying to show you over here that there's always a way to like simplify eyes, you see. And of course those really feminine kind of eyes, there's always a way to simplify eyes into any shape you want. And I feel like before sketching you should also always draw these really simplistic art style eyes, just to show what you're trying to get at in the original artwork, and like the big version. With that, I think I've explained enough today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. It's gonna just help me out a ton, and I'm just gonna be able to make more videos for you guys, which is going to be always pretty cool, you know. Alright, bye. Love you all.